Welcome, everyone, to Raw Dog Game Reviews. I'm the Raw Dog, and this is what we do here at Raw Dog Game Reviews. I'm going to review a game I recently played. But here's the catch. There's no script and no editing. I'm just going to ramble on my review for the game, off the top of my head, off the cuff, if you will. Now that that's out of the way, let's get to it, and let's go in Raw Dog.
Okay, this time we're talking about Dragons Dogma 2. Or Dragons Dogma? You know what? I'm not entirely sure anymore. Okay, seriously, I'm just joking. Yes, Dragons Dogma 2. But yeah, there's that whole funny joke where the name on the title card just says Dragons Dogma, and the game kind of plays like a reboot, like a soft reboot. And it kind of is. It's basically a soft reboot of the series. But then again, there's only one game in the series, so it's kind of like the idea of like Final Fantasy, where it's number two, but it's just the same concept, kind of done again in a slightly different world, and they're just like, hey, have fun with it. And you know what? I had a lot of fun with it. The game is good. The game is really good. Now there are some down points about the game. We'll get to that, and there are some real sour points about the game. We'll get to that too. But the game is really just good. It's a really good sequel to the original. Dragon's Dogma 1 was a great game. I really enjoyed it. It was a great game. Seriously, great game. Dark Arisen, the DLC expansion, I never actually played it. I shouldn't say that. I wanted to play it, just time got away from me, and I never went back to it. I played and beat the original, Dragon's Dogma. I don't know if I got the true ending. I don't know. I didn't really look it up. I didn't research it, but I got an ending, and it was interesting, to say the least. And yeah, the game was good. I really liked it. What I didn't like was how long it takes to get to places, how tedious it was, walking from place to place to place to place to place, and just yeah, it's the world is the world in the first one was already pretty big, not nearly as big as the second one, but it was already pretty big. But the second one's even bigger, and it has the same problem. Like you just walk everywhere, and it just takes a long time. But yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Seriously. So just want to get to my first points of the game. It's a really good game. It's really fun, and that's all there is to it. If you like Dragon's Dogma, definitely Dragon's Dogma 2 is a game for you. It's a lot of fun. Climbing on top of the creatures, fighting them, like this whole thing of Monster Hunter and standard RPGs blending together in beautifulness. Capcom knows what they're doing. Capcom makes Monster Hunter, so Capcom's like, hey, why don't we fuse this great title we had called Monster Hunter and fuse it with every other idea of a JRPG, and it's like, yo, that's beautiful. That's awesome. I get to standardly go up levels and standardly equip gear and have all these things. And I get to climb on top of monsters and shove my sword into their necks. That's cool. Or shove my sword into their eyes. Or down their throat even. It's cool. It's awesome. I like it. The game is good. The game is really good. So, let's get to it. Graphics? The graphics are okay. I shouldn't say that. The graphics are good. The world looks really nice. The creatures look really nice. They have lots of good detail to them. The dragons look really nice. The manticores look really nice. The Medusa, yeah, the Medusa looks really nice. The griffins look awesome. I like griffins. But, seriously, the game looks really good. The goblins look good. The game just looks good. The game just looks good. It's great. I had a really good time with the game. So it's good. The graphics just look really nice. But now you come to the point where the characters don't look great. The characters are like that whole idea where it's like we're seeing Oblivion again, we're seeing Skyrim again, we're seeing oh, what's that game? Starfield. We're seeing Starfield again. It's like the characters don't look much better than the Dragons Dogma 1 characters. But then again, they don't need to. I mean, I know they had this whole thing where they released the character creator as a demo, and people were going nuts with character creation, and people have gone nuts with character creation. But you know what? It's not that big of a deal for me, and also it's not that big of a deal. Looking at my character all day, they're covered up in armor anyway. The armor looks good. The armor looks sick. So yeah, I'm not that big on the whole character creation idea. And if you listen to my reviews, you know that I'd rather have a character that's built to be in the world that they're in, and have a storyline that is beautiful and written well with them in it, than having a created character where the storyline has to be built around a character that doesn't talk, doesn't actually do anything, and it doesn't actually affect the world around them really. So yeah, I don't like that. Then again, Dragons Dogma, the game is built around you, so the character doesn't affect the world. But my point is that what you actually are, how you actually make your character, doesn't actually really affect it that much because the game's story is already built. So, say if I made a tiny little, lion person or a tiny little person, it doesn't actually matter. The game won't actually be really affected that much. The storyline won't really change. So yeah. But anyway, the graphics are good. They're passable for what they need to be. The world looks really cool. The enemies look really cool, and the characters look okay. So the story, the story is okay. The story is bland. It's okay. It's bland. You're the king, but they don't want you to actually be the king because the queen wants to stay being in power, so she got a false king to take your place, and they tried to send you off to a camp to work as a slave, but it was obvious that you were the king, so you came back and you fought for your place, and now you're trying to like usurp the fake king and the queen from the background, trying to gain the people's praise, and it's just kind of silly. So yeah, the plot line is kind of meh. But it's a good game. And the plotline is also very open because, again, like you make your character. I made a beast lion person. It was really cool. I like that. And it's kind of interesting, but I mean, like, how am I a beast lion person ruling over a country full of humans? And then again, like, the other country is not entirely beast folk anyway. There's a whole bunch of humans in there also, and it's like, huh? And where is the line that humans and pawns differentiate? Because I'm never entirely sure if I'm talking to a human or if I'm talking to a pawn sometimes. Yeah, the plot line is really weird. But anyway, it's a good game. And the whole thing of you wanting to like, usurp the crown and try to get back to being the king and everything. It's okay. It's a good game. It's a good plot line. It's passable. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. Enjoy it. I don't want to spoil too much of it. But I mean, obviously, you do succeed, and you do fight the dragon, and you do become the king. And then that's when Dragon Dogma 2 starts. Seriously, the end game quotations because it's the end game, but that's when it actually says Dragon's Dogma 2 is like the actual meat of the game, where the game is now there's no water, the ocean was just taken into the sky, and you can walk on the ocean floor, which it was ocean floor, but it's not ocean floor anymore. You can walk on it, and it makes it so that you can traverse areas kind of faster, which is kind of awkward. It's kind of like you're just taking shortcuts, but I mean, it doesn't really make it faster. It just kind of makes it like you're taking shortcuts. And the world is like red, and the enemies are more dangerous. But then it comes to the whole thing where like if you die, you have to start all the way over from the first day of this thing and do all the quest lines over, and it's kind of annoying. So I don't know. I didn't actually finish that part of the game. I didn't. But I got an ending, so I'm gonna say that I beat the game, and I'm just gonna keep going my review. I'm not gonna care. So anyway, the game is still good. I really enjoyed the game. It's a really fun game, and that's all there really is to it. It's a really fun game. And let's get into the gameplay. The gameplay is awesome. If you like the gameplay of Dragon's Dogma 1, you're gonna like the gameplay of Dragon's Dogma 2. The gameplay is solid. It's really good. It's fun. The only bad part is the lock on, because there isn't any. You don't lock on to things. But you know what? Let's go on the good points first. Let's talk about the good points of the gameplay first. It's hard to talk about the good points. There's honestly a pretty good amount of bad points, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. The game just feels really cool. I like how you have different classes. The different classes feel really nice to play. I played as an archer pretty much entirely. I switched to sword and shield for a while and let my pawn do archery for a while, build up some skills in both areas. I didn't feel like having my pawn be a mage. I should have probably because it's good to have a healer on you, and I usually took a healer with me anyway. But I just wanted to try something different. I always make my pawn a mage. In the first game, I made a pawn a mage, and I did it, but I kept them as a healing mage. I never put them into sorcerer mode. I never put them into like grand sorcerer mode. I always kept them as a healer. So yeah, I like having a pawn that can actually get in there and fight things. It was fun. We worked together really well. So anyway, but then I started to be a warfarer, a wayfarer, at the end when you unlock that class. Because I also unlocked Magic Archer, and I like Magic Archer, but Magic Archer also kind of bugs me because some of the skills don't really feel very effective. Like, don't get me wrong, they feel good, but also like when the arrows like curve around and take a long time to get their targets, it's like why? I get that it's kind of flashy, it looks cool, but why? I want to just hit my target. So I like being in warfare because I could just keep my archery on and be like, oh, I need to hit that target, archer, 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 bow, 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 bow. And then when it's like, oh, this guy is weak to magic, magic archer, magic bow, magic bow, magic bow, cool. And like, oh, I want to raise my magic bow level. I want to use this cool fire explosion arrow. Let me go do that. So I do use magic archery, but I just kind of stay in warfare and actually just switch between bow and magic bow all the time. Especially because I found this really good bow that heals you when you're standing still. Like, yo, that's awesome. I don't have to use any healing items. I don't entirely need a healer because I just stand still and the game's like heal. And the healing is really nice and quick too. It's awesome. It's really good. Like that bow is awesome. I love it. I love it so much. Anyway, but now, and the climbing on top of the enemies is really cool. I'm not gonna say but yet. We'll get back to that. I really wanted to say more about how the game was cool first. I love climbing on top of the enemies. That's also why I wanted to go into the sword and shield for a while, the warrior style for a while because I guess it's called fighter. I wanted to go into fighter because I like climbing on top of the enemies and gouging into them. It's cool. It's fun. It's fun. It's good. I like it. Now there is the problem where like you can't hit flying enemies very well or very easily when you're doing that. But honestly, there are a few attacks that do kind of make that okay, where you can kind of like leap up into the air and attack a flying enemy, and it does a really good attack, and it can usually send them to the ground, so you can continue to attack them. So there are ways to get around that. But then I eventually went back to Archer. I stayed in Archer mostly, and I have to say that it's definitely because with archery, I could just take the whole field. I could hit people that are next to me, far away from me, in the air. I can everything, and it's awesome. Especially because the archery is more acrobatic and it's cool. Seriously, I have some like highlight moments. I don't me, I don't do video, but I have some awesome highlights of videos that I saved on my PS5 where I'm like leaping backwards and my character turns around and does this awesome like backward shot, or I leap to the side, they do a flip and do a shot, and it's like it's really the archery is so acrobatic. It's awesome. I love how acrobatic it is, and they have this dive kick where you're like you can run at the enemy, jump and kick, and you kick off their body and you can do a shot from it. Like it's just so cool. And I knew I was gonna love this game from the moment when like I was fighting an enemy level 1, level 2, and I was fighting this goblin, and this goblin had a shield up, and I was like, Bo, 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 why isn't your shield going down? Why are you just sitting here forever with your shield? And I was like, you know what? I picked him up, and because I remembered that Dragon's Dogma 1, you pick up enemies, so I just picked him up because it was a goblin, and I just grabbed him and I threw him on the ground, and I popped an arrow in his face and killed him, and I was like, I love this game, because seriously, a game that lets you just pick up the goblin carrying a shield, throw them into the ground, and pop an arrow in their eye just makes it feel so good. It makes you just feel like you're so strong that you conquered the crap out of that enemy. And it's just awesome. It was just cool. So I really enjoyed it. It was fun. And it was a lot of fun. The game is just good. So yeah, I really enjoyed Dragon's Dogma. Now let's get into the bad points of the gameplay. Was there anything else I want to say about the gameplay? I mean, yeah, the the wall scaling feels good. I don't know. The gameplay does feel really good. The gameplay does feel really good. That climbing on the enemies, the weak points, the game just feels good. And being an archer makes you be able to take point on those things really well. On the weak points, oh there's a weak point. Let me just arrow that, boom, and it's really good. The game just feels really good. The combat, the gameplay feels good. So yeah, I think I've talked about that enough. Let's go ahead and ramble on about how bad the gameplay is. Yeah, jokes. But seriously, there are some bad points to the gameplay, and let's go into that. First off, the one that everybody's talking about, the one that destroyed all the Steam reviews, the one that destroyed the game entirely. There's no fast travel. Now, let me say this: I can respect the game director's point of view when he's saying that fast travel destroys the feel, the immersion of the game. It makes it feel too gamey. I get it. I get it, and I can understand that. But then I have to counter with this. Give us a horse. Or give us unlimited sprint outside of combat. Because seriously, it takes so long to get from point A to point B. At first, it was okay. Because also the game is filled with enemies. Oh, that's one of the good points. I forgot I want to say that. Let's go back to that for a minute. The game feels so alive. There's so much randomness in the game, and it feels so alive because of that randomness. The game actually, the world feels alive. I one time, well, not one time. There was a whole lot of times where I walked into the town and there were just monsters attacking the town. I had to save the town from monsters. And there's a whole bunch of also like little monster execution quests that'll pop up every now and then where someone is just being attacked by monsters and they're just like, "Save me!" and you save them and they give you some money. It's cool. Also, money. Dear God, the game and money. The game and money is ridiculous. I saw a weapon that I wanted to buy, and the game was like, "This costs 4,000 gold," and I was like, "Whoa, I will not be able to afford that anytime soon." I went and did like 2 quests, and I have like 8,000 gold, and I was like, "Oh, I'm wrong." The game just floods you with money. Seriously, the game just floods you with money. Money isn't even well appreciated. It has a very ridiculous value to it, where the game is just giving you thousands and thousands of gold for completing any quest. But anyway, to get back to the whole randomness, it was really cool. It was really cool to just like walk into a town and just see things fighting the town. The best one I ever had was I walked into the main city, the main I don't know what it's called. I walked to the main city and I walked from the back entrance. I guess from the back entrance, and I went to go to the shop and I was like, "I'm gonna go to the shop." But anyway, I walked to the back entrance and there were some wolves in the town, so I killed the wolves and I was like, "Cool, cool, that was fun." I love how the game does this. It makes the world feel so alive because things just happen randomly. They're not scripted in the game, and things just happen. Like the enemies just pop out of nowhere. They just fight the cities. It's cool. It makes the world feel really alive. And then as I'm pondering that, I go over to the shop and I'm selling some things, and I hear roar, and I'm like, huh, there's another enemy in the city, or it's nearby. Huh, that's interesting. Well, I'm gonna keep selling this. I'll check out in a minute. I finished selling my things. I was like, okay, let's go check on that. I turn a corner in the city, and there's a dragon sitting in the city, fighting off the guards. And I was like, that isn't a griffin. That isn't goblins. That's a straight up dragon. Like a dragon just decided to land in the city and fight the guards and fight me. And I was just like, oh my god. So I just took my pawns, grabbed my bow, and the rest of the guards and the rest of the pawns in the city just went to town on that dragon. It just made it feel stupid for attacking a city full of heroes. we went to town on that thing. The life bar just went down in like minutes, and I was just like, "Yo, you were stupid for attacking a city." But I love that. I love how the game feels like that, where you're just walking around and something like Griffin will just slam into you, and you're just like, "Whoa, buddy, I'm walking here," and you just fight that Griffin. And it just so walking around the world, yeah, it feels tedious to kind of walk from place to place, but it also feels awesome because the world is so alive. There's so many things to fight, and there's so many things to do. The world just feels so alive. So it doesn't actually feel all that tedious to walk from point A to point B. But yes, give us a horse. Seriously, if you're not gonna have fast travel, give us a horse or give us unlimited sprint when outside of combat. Because seriously, it does take a long time. It does get tedious after a while to run from place to place and to have to carry so many things on your character that the weight limits go skyrocketing very fast. That your character is just going, I can't run anymore after like a minute of running. And you do this for like 20 more minutes as you're traveling super far. Yes, there is an ox cart, and yes, it does work as fast travel, but it only goes to certain places. So you can only use it sometimes. And it's not that good. Like I said, it's just you can only use it sometimes. It doesn't take you to everywhere, so it does not solve the issue. And yes, there are fairy stones, but because fairy stones cost money, real money, that's where the microtransactions are. You're gonna end up hoarding them. I hoarded them. I had like 20 in the game. I've used like 4 in my entire playthrough because you are going to end up hoarding them. And so that's what I'm talking about. Because they cost real world money if you want to actually find more of them. You can only find a certain amount in the game. So yeah, it's just really annoying. The fast travel thing is actually annoying, and I really disliked it. And then the next bad point is again the lock on. The lock on is just garbage because there is no lock on in the game, and it just bothers me so much. Yes, I play as Archer, so you can say to me, "Why don't you just use manual archery? Why don't you go into like first person over the shoulder shooting mode and just archer everything? You're an archer." Yeah, I do that. I do that a lot. But then there's also times where like I'm fighting a group group of like 4 goblins, and I don't want to be trouble to do it because goblins move really fast, and I don't want to be trouble to go into over the shoulder mode and try to shoot these goblins when there's like 4 of them and the battles be over really quick. So I would just try to shoot them in quick shot mode. But guess what? I'm shooting that goblin 20 feet away from me that is fighting my pawn. When there's a goblin literally about 5 feet from me charging at me with its sword, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to shoot this one. Oh, that one? Nah, it's okay. It can come right at me. Nah, it's okay. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. I've gotten hit by more enemies because of that than I can even count. It's such a dumb thing. It's so dumb. I hate it. But like that's, and of course, yes, they made the pawns talk less, but the pawns still talk so much. Arisen, 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 arisen. I wish there was an option to shut them off. It really does bother me. Seriously. It's so annoying. But even though those 2 points are really annoying, I still can't hate the game because the game was really good. The game was really fun. But I can't find myself wanting to go ahead and do another run through so soon, or New Game Plus or whatever, and keep going on with the end game version so much when I have to like keep recycling it because it is tedious, because it takes a long time to do it, because I have other games I want to play, because I have other things I want to do on my plate as I have a full busy life. So the game is beautiful, but I wish it gave you a horse. Seriously, giving you a horse would have solved so many issues. I don't see how hard it is to put a horse in a game. If you're not going to have fast travel, give people a horse. It's not that hard. It's really not. It's just stupid. It seems like there aren't actually even horses in the game because everything's driven by ox carts and everything is. There's like you don't actually see horses, which is kind of weird. But seriously, you just should have horses, and there should be horses in the game. Seriously, Elden Ring, a game that is a Souls-like, and is built in the Souls engine, was like, hey, this world is really big. We should give our players a horse, and they give you a horse. Seriously, Dragons Dogma, give us a horse. Ugh, it's dumb. But anyway, the game is really good. The game is really fun. I definitely promote it. Oh, the classes. Sorry, I forgot one more bad thing about the classes. I am so angry at the classes. The first game had fighter, warrior, awesome. Mage, sorcerer, awesome. Strider, ranger, awesome. Magic knight, awesome. Magic archer, awesome. Oh wait, it wasn't Strider Ranger. It was Strider like Archer. And then it had Strider Ranger and then Thief. It had 9 classes, which was just Fighter class, upgraded version of Fighter class. Mage class, upgraded version of Mage class. Archery class, upgraded version of Archery class. A class that merges Warrior and Archery. A class that merges Magic and Archery. A class that merges Magic and Swordsmanship. They're very basic, but they were very good. And in this game is like, we have Mage and Sorcerer came back, we have Fighter and Warrior came back, but now we only give you Archer. There's no Ranger class. That bothered me so much. It's just like, what? I want to be an Archer, but there's no upgraded version? There's no stronger Archer? Why? Why is there no stronger Archer? I was so angry at that. And then, yes, we still have Magic Archer. That's cool, but that's not stronger Archer. And also, it's kind of clumsy sometimes because the arrows like swivel and go curvy. It's kind of clumsy sometimes. And the lock-on, which lock-on is part of the best part of the Magic Archery, takes a long time to do because you're just like ding, 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 lock-on. Now I shoot. It's not as quick. And like I said, because the arrows like curve and slide, when you're doing quick shots, you don't always hit the thing you're trying to hit, and the arrows take a long time to actually hit the thing. So it's really not that quick. So then the Magic Spear Hand. That class is cool. I love the whole twin blade awesomeness of it. But again, it's like it's not as good as it could have been, and it is still kind of trying to be like a magic swordsman kind of one, but cooler. It's cool and all, but I just wish it was better. I wish there were more choices. I wish there was a ranger. It bothered me so much. I was so angry there wasn't a ranger. Especially because there wasn't like a big arrow move where the arrows rain from the sky. I wanted arrows to rain from the sky. I wanted that so badly. But anyway, the game is good. It should have fast travel. It should have the ranger class. But it was or maybe not fast travel. It should have a horse. But the game is good. The game is still just good. If you like Dragons Dogma 1, play Dragons Dogma 2. Buy it. It's a good game. I love Dragons Dogma. It was a great game. Definitely had some bad points, but it wasn't all that bad. It was still a good game. Really enjoyed it. And well, that's that.
Okay, well, that was my raw review. Thanks for listening, and if you liked it and want to hear more, you can like and subscribe. But I'll be back here regardless whether you like it or not, with more raw dog gaming reviews. See you next time. Bye-bye!